Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my opinion on the best supports for Season 5, Patch 5.10. So first up on my list, I have Thresh. Pros to Thresh are he's got great CC with his Q, his E, and his ultimate. He also has very strong engage with his Q, and he's got great disengage as well with his W, his E, and his ultimate. He's got very strong pick potential with his Q, and if you can land a hook on the enemy squishy come late game, that could just completely win you the game right there. So because of his hook, I think he's a really good pick for solo queue because you can just ultimately win games while playing with Thresh if you can land a good hook in the late game or in the early game as well. It just really depends on the situation. He also scales really well into the late game because of his passive, and he can set up ganks really nicely as well with his lantern. One con to Thresh is that he is harder to play in my opinion than some of the other supports in the game because his hook is a skill shot, which means it's harder to land than most of the other abilities in the game, and his lantern can also be hard to use, and it's definitely an ability that it takes a while to get used to because you need to know how to position yourself while playing as Thresh to maximize the potential of your lantern. Next on my list, I have Blitzcrank. So pros to Blitz are he's got insane pick potential with his hook, and I didn't have Blitzcrank on my list last patch, but I've realized even though his W did get that nerf, he's still a really strong pick just because of the potential he has with his hook. Even though he can't just run recklessly at you now, having the threat of his hook makes him just really strong. It enables him to zone really well, and if you can land that hook on the enemy squishy, either in the laning phase or in the late game, then that could just win you the game like a Thresh hook can. He's also very strong if you can get ahead with him because you can always be looking for picks with his Q. He's got great CC with his Q, his E, and his ultimate. And his ultimate is a silence as well, which makes him a pretty good pick against enemy champions who jump into the fight and require channeling an ability. For example, Katarina, Blitzcrank counters her pretty hard because whenever she jumps into a team fight and starts channeling her ultimate, as long as Blitzcrank's there, he can just use his ultimate and then Katarina's ultimate will be stopped. So it makes him a pretty good pick against a few champions who require a channeled ability. And he is also a very good roamer as well because of his W. One con to Blitz is that he is harder to play in my opinion than some of the other supports in the game because his hook is a skill shot, and like Thresh, if you can't land your hook, then you are missing out on a lot of his potential. Next up on my list, I have Leona. So pros to Leona are she's got very strong pick potential with her ultimate and her E as well. Her ultimate's on a very short cooldown, so never be afraid to use it if you do find that pick because even if you do miss it, it's going to be up in a short time span, so you don't really have to worry about whiffing your ultimate. She's also got a great level 2 all-in, and she's one of the burstiest AD carry, or she's one of the burstiest supports in the game because of her passive as well. If you can go for an all-in at level 2, get your EQ combo off, and then your AD carry can start proccing your passive, then the damage output that you have is actually really high. She also has free tank stats with her W, and she's got a great passive like I said. She also has very strong CC with her E, her Q, and her ultimate. Some cons to Leona is that she does have weaker disengage compared to some of the other supports in the game, and she does have a few hard counters in lane. Morgana and Janna are two champions who counter her pretty hard because they pretty much completely negate her engage. Whenever she tries to jump on a Morgana or a Janna, what they can do is Morgana can plant her black shield on whoever she is jumping on, and then Leona won't be able to CC the target, and what Janna can do is she can use her Howling Gale, and then Leona will be knocked up, and therefore she won't be able to stun her target. Next on my list, I have Morgana. So pros to Morgana are she's got insane pick potential with her Q. Morgana is just going to be a really good pick for support in my opinion, and she hasn't really fallen out of meta. She's been a great support pick. I would say for the last couple of months at least, she's always been on my list, and the main reason is because of her black shield and because of her really crazy pick potential with her Q. Her black shield makes her a great pick, like I said, against Leona. It makes her a great pick against any CC support in the game. She also has very easy Spell Thieves procs that you can get in lane with your W, and her ultimate is also very strong for team fighting. Some cons of Morgana is that she is very squishy compared to some of the other supports, and she does need Zhonya's to be most effective, because what I like to do when playing as Morgana is if my flash is up and I see the enemies are grouped, I like to flash in and go for an ultimate on the enemies, and if I don't have Zhonya's, then I'm going to get bursted down right away, but if I do have Zhonya's, I'm going to be able to use that, and then if I'm lucky, I'll get a 5-man Soul Shackles off. So I do think that you do need Zhonya's on Morgana to be most effective, so I would definitely recommend buying that item on her. So last but not least, on my top 5, I have Nautilus. Nautilus is definitely my favorite support in the game right now because his damage output in the early game is actually really crazy. If you can land a hook on the opponent, follow that up with your passive, your W damage, and your E as well, it just brings for a load of damage, and he's got insane CC because of his Q, his passive, his E, and his ultimate. He's got very strong engage with his Q and great disengage as well with his ultimate and his E. He's also got a great passive, and this is really strong for team fighting, especially because if you can just auto attack every single enemy or every single opponent in a team fight, then you're going to be able to get that stun off, which makes him a really good pick, and it just makes his disengage even stronger as well as his engage. He's also got a shield, and he's got great lockdown because of all of his CC. One con to Nautilus is that his hook can be hard to land in lane, so what I'd recommend doing when playing as Nautilus is try to get level 2 before your opponents, and then try to move up and hit a hook on your opponent, because his level 2 all-in is really good, and if you can get your hook off on, say, like an enemy squishy support, like a Sona or a Nami, a squishy support, then his damage output is going to be really good, and he's probably going to at least burn their flash, so definitely try to get that level 2 ahead of your opponents, because his level 2 all-in is really good. So first up on the honorable mentions, I have Braum. So I think Braum is definitely one of the strongest tanks in the game. He's got a very strong team fight because of his passive and his ultimate and his E as well. He's just a really strong tank support with a load of CC, so if you're looking for a tanky support, then Braum is definitely a very good choice. So next up on my list, I have Brand. The reason why I have Brand on my list for this patch is because we're seeing a lot of tanks being played lately, and due to Brand's passive dealing percentage health damage with his abilities, I think he's a pretty good pick in this meta right now. He's also got a very good laning phase because he's got really high base damage on his ability, so it just enables him to poke his opponents down and then zone them after that, so I do think that Brand is a pretty solid pick right now in this meta. Next up, I have Alistar. So Alistar and Braum are two of the best tank supports in the game. Alistar's ultimate basically makes him unkillable during team fights, so if you're looking for a really strong tank support, then I would definitely recommend picking up Alistar, but only if you know how to use his WQ combo, because if you don't know how to use his WQ combo and get that instant knock-up off on the opponent, then it definitely does, it definitely makes it harder to look for those picks when playing as Alistar, and if you do know how to use the combo, then you can look for so many more opportunities to find picks on your opponent, so I do think that if you are looking into playing Alistar, make sure that you do practice using his WQ combo. So next up on the honorable mentions, I have Sona. Sona is one of the best sustain supports in the game, so if you're looking for a support with a heal, then Sona is definitely one of the best picks. She's got really strong pick potential with her ultimate as well. If you can look for that pick in a team fight and flash in and get a 5-man ultimate in a team fight, then that could just win you the game right there. And she's also got a really strong laning phase because of her heal and because of her great poke with her Q as well. Next up, I have Janna. So Janna, I think she's a better pick for the higher elos because she doesn't really have any engage. She's got great disengage, but to be most effective in solo queue, I do think that you need to have some sort of engage when you're playing as support, and Janna doesn't really have the best engage. She's got her W, but that's not really like, it's not the best. It's not a blitz hook, it's not a thresh hook, it's not a Morgana binding. So I do think that Janna does take a lot more skill to play, and you do need a reliable AD carry for her to be most effective, because her role is to protect her AD carry, and if her AD carry is only gonna get like 3 or 4 auto attacks off during a team fight, then playing a support like Blitzcrank or Thresh is definitely gonna be more worth it. So last but not least, on the honorable mentions, I have Nami. Nami is also a very good sustain support. She's got pretty strong CC with her ultimate and her Q as well. I do think she's a little bit harder to play than Sona, because her Q is harder to land. Her Q is hard to land, and it's one of her main CC abilities, obviously. So if you can't land your Q when playing as Nami, then you're missing out on a lot of her potential. But I do think that she is a very strong support if you can land your Q and you can use your ultimate in the right situations. So that is all for the video, guys. If you enjoyed, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.